Arizona football has seen some changes this offseason, and as they approach the spring game, we're breaking down what the offense and defense has been working on, as well as discussing the future of the team going into the season, all on today's episode of Locked On Pac-12 podcast.
You are Locked On Pac-12, your daily podcast on the Pac-12 Conference. It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked Pac-12 podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Robinson, former Pac-12 student athlete. And joining me today is Michael Luke from Locked On Wildcats. Michael Luke, how's it going?
Not too bad, Cindy. How are you doing? Back in California?
Yeah, back in California, ready to talk Pac-12 football. I know basketball just wrapped up and WNBA draft is on the way, and obviously NBA is still going. But when it comes to college sports, our eyes are fixated back on football just that quick. It happens so quickly, right?
Right.
But for the Arizona Wildcats, obviously not the ending of the basketball season they wanted, but a lot better of a season than what we saw from the football team. And that, I'm sure, is something they're looking to turn around this season. They've already made some amazing changes that gives me the thoughts that this will be a better season for the Wildcats. But obviously, we have to get your opinion. You're the expert here on the Wildcats. And I want to kick it off with talking about the offense and what they've been working on. We'll touch on the veteran presence on the offensive line, but more than ever, we got to talk about Jayden de Laura. Him stepping in as quarterback, that was one of the major issues for the Wildcats last season and what they struggled with. Probably, in my opinion, the most. They transitioned through three different quarterbacks and could never really just find that one. And now it looks like Jayden de Laura might be that one. But what have you felt like you've seen as they've been practicing through spring and getting ready for this spring game?
You know, it's a great question, Cindy. The one thing about de Laura is that he's on the smaller side. You walk in there and you don't exactly – he's not 6'4", not 6'3", but he's significantly better than obviously what they were throwing out last year with Gunnar Cruz and Will Plummer. And he has a command. He's got a very good deep ball, and he gets the ball out quickly. In short, it just looks like, and part of the pun, but in short, it just looks like he can get the ball out a lot quicker. Football looks more natural to Jayden de Laura than it did to those other two.
Yeah, and it's clear that Jedd Fisch is trying to take advantage of that by giving de Laura a little more autonomy with the football and calling plays. And honestly, I feel like we're gonna see a lot more freelance from Jayden than we probably have seen from other quarterbacks with the Wildcats. That's gonna add to this offense. Considering, we've seen a lot of stiff situations, sticking to the book, someone can figure things out on the go and, just improv is probably going to be your better quarterback option.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head there in that, the guy was the Pac-12 freshman of the year. I mean, with all due respect to Will Plummer and Gunnar Cruz, neither one of those guys would ever be the Pac-12 freshman of the year under any circumstance. So, he comes in, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. But, like I said, I would expect Jedd Fisch to kind of piggyback on your point right there. I think Jedd Fisch is going to let him make plays. I think he's going to give him a little bit more freedom because, the better you are as a player, the more freedom a coach is going to give you. And that's just the way it should be.
Yeah, I want to talk about McMillan. I don't want to mess up his first name, so I'm going to let you say it.
I got you.
But basically, your new star freshman wide receiver, you guys all have lost Stanley Berry-Hill, one of your top receivers, been a go-to with Jayden joining the team, but he's entering the NFL draft, and so now it's someone else's time to shine. What have you seen from McMillan? What should Wildcat fans be excited about when it comes to him connecting with Jayden?
Well, not many. Arizona doesn't generally get many players that are like the top three in their position in the entire country. I know that might be hard for some to believe, but we generally don't. And so he sticks out. I mean, he sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, he's 6'5". He's every bit of 6'5", and he's going to be kind of your ultimate jump ball wide receiver right there. In that, when they get around the goal line, he's going to be able to guy that's going to be able to go up there and haul that in. I would imagine that he's going to probably have 7-8 touchdowns this year. I think where Arizona fans are also enthusiastic, though, is that he's been the second best player. Excuse me. He's been the second best wide receiver on the roster. Jacob Cowing, a kid from UTEP who caught for over 1,300 yards last year, has been probably the best player on the team. And I would imagine that that's going to continue. But no, as far as the wide receiver overhaul, it's impressive there, Sydney. There's a lot to work with there.
Okay. And then we have to talk about this offensive line. A lot of veteran presence there because the first 2 years they were typically new, right? They were the new kids on the block, and now they're the vets. They have been more of a weak point for Arizona in the last 2 years. Going into this season, do you feel like their experience level now should be an improvement in their game going into this season, or is it a little sore spot for Arizona?
That's a great question, and I hate to cop out right here because I'm going to, but nobody really knows that. But Cindy, that's also why you're so good at what you do, because you can ask the questions that honestly I don't have an answer to. So that's going to be one of those ones they're going to have to play it out on the field. I'm not exactly sure on that one. That's a great question.
And that's fair. That's leaving the fans something to look forward to themselves. We can't tell them everything, right? We can't predict the future, even if we try. So that's definitely something for you all Wildcat fans to keep looking forward to. I know spring game is coming up, but even in the spring game situations, you really won't know until you see some real live action play in the fall. But just know that there are some bright spots on the offensive side to look forward to. Coming up next, Michael and I will talk about the defensive side and what you guys can expect. Hopefully some improvements there. Fingers crossed for you all. That's all I'm saying. Fingers crossed. All right, y'all. This is the time of year that most of everyone is giving up on their New Year's resolutions, and I'm trying so hard to stay strong on this whole eating healthy and staying fit. I worked out this morning, right? And obviously I was super hungry. Ate something healthy for breakfast for the most part. And then throughout the day, I started to get hungry and wanted snacks. And that is my weakness, the snacks, the sweet tooth, and all of that. So you know what I turned to? Built Bar. Built Bars are the best tasting protein bars that literally taste like candy bars. So you cannot go wrong. If you have a little sweet tooth, mine isn't that bad, but I mean, some of y'all out there I know love your sweets. This is the protein bar for you. If you haven't tried the Puffs, you definitely have to check them out. They're Built Bar's best tasting bars. They're basically protein-infused marshmallows. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, and they're not just a protein bar. They're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, so that is probably the best thing about them. On top of that, they're low in calories, low in sugar, low in net carbs, and high in protein. Everything you need, and it all tastes good. So that's always something we're looking forward to in our healthier snacks, because that's the struggle. They don't taste as good as the quote unquote bad junk food snacks. Built Bar comes in different flavors: mint brownie, coconut almond, white chocolate, cookies and cream. There's literally something for everyone. So go ahead and head on over to built.com and check it out for yourself. Use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Shout out to you listeners for making Locked On Pac-12 podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Okay, Michael. So we talked about the offense, kind of just getting warmed up there. We don't know everything happening. This is all just basically what we're seeing from spring ball and, them prepping for their spring game. When it comes to the defense, one thing is in these situations with spring games, spring ball, any practices, it's iron sharpens iron, right? Offense is going against defense. They're getting each other prepared for what's to come in the season. So we were just talking about McMillan, freshman or whatever, and he's going up against veteran cornerback Christian spring ball. Obviously, with a veteran as a new player coming in is gonna give you some extra skills. Obviously, this cornerback has seen Pac-12 play already. He's been a part of the team. What can you tell us about the defense as far as their improvement goes going into this next season?
It's going to be interesting to see, because last year I thought Don Brown did a good job because he had below mediocre talent and they produced a mediocre product. I know that sounds like kind of a backhanded compliment, which, I mean, I guess you could construe it as it is, but they just weren't very good last year. But they were still better than probably their talent indicated. I think when I look at this team right now, Cindy, I look at a team and I think that there's going to be a couple players that are going to have to really break through. Hunter Echols is a guy, a USC transfer at the linebacker position, who's been the best pass rusher in camp. He's a guy that's going to have to, I think, break through and hopefully be that 7-8 sack guy. But you mentioned Christian Roland Wallace. Christian Roland Wallace is a guy that he's very physical at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have great speed, which leads him or makes him susceptible to being beaten over the top at times, which can obviously be an issue. But he's certainly been one of the better players in camp. Opposite him is a guy named Traden Stukes, who was probably their best corner at the end of last season as a walk-on freshman. He certainly has elevated himself to a scholarship level there. But those are your two DBs you're looking at. And as far as a pass rusher that's new, Hunter Echols is going to be that guy for sure, or he needs to be that guy.
All right. Well, it seems like the defense is learning a new scheme. Like you said, they have more of a veteran presence on that side. It's been said that from, I guess, the scrimmage that happened, Arizona's secondary seemed to win the majority of the one-on-one battle. So, I mean, I want to say that is a per the defensive side, but a little shaky for the offense. But if offense is that good and defense is able to shut them down or, win majority of the plays, that bodes well for both sides to say that the defense is playing that and the offense is going to do well against other defenses.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. It's just going to be interesting to see because it's always difficult when you're scrimmaging who, all right, is our offense that good or is our defense not good? Are both units good? Right. Now, listen, if you're Alabama or you're, USC back in the day, you don't worry about that. But when you're a team like Arizona that's coming off one win, you're looking for anything that you could possibly get right there. And so that's where it's going to be interesting to see where things really, the divide really happens, I guess.
Yeah, I want to talk a little more about this defensive line, though, as we look at Pac-12, right, and what they have, that they're going to face. You have teams like SC, who is now, pulling talent as Lincoln Riley is the new head coach there. Oregon, who is working on, bringing in their talent. The same teams, UCLA retaining their same old talent, DTR returning. For you, do you feel like this defensive line is one that you trust, along with the defense, or one that you worry that will have struggles like they did last season?
I'm optimistic about the defensive line. Now, again, I don't think that it's going to be great, but I do believe that it's Jalen Harris is a guy that we've talked about breaking out for quite a while here, and I would love for him to possibly be that guy that that breaks out and becomes that 7-8 sack guy. He's certainly capable. Probably the best defensive lineman right now, or at least the one that sticks out the most, has been a guy named Paris Shand. 6'5", 240. Lots of quick twitch muscle to him. He's a guy that I think that the coaching staff is hoping can really steal one of those starting spots and not let it go.
We gotta. I'm telling you, fingers are crossed.
I like the optimism.
Last season, I was probably one of their biggest fans in the sense of hoping and rooting for the underdog situation, which we'll talk about coming up next because I do want to get into what fans can anticipate for next season with all that we've talked about today, what they can look forward to, and what they should be possibly still concerned about. Hopefully not too much on Michael's watch, but we'll see. We'll for sure see. Look, thing that could ever happen to you in when you're thinking things are going good is your car gets messed up or broken down or anything. And dealing with car issues, getting parts, it's literally the worst. Even if you're a good person with, car auto parts and stuff, it's still annoying to have to deal with. So Rock Auto is making your life easier in so many ways. You can save time and money when using Rock Auto. Rock Auto is actually a family business serving do-it 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer, and they have everything you could need, from brake parts to tail lamps, motor oil, and even new car. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain dealership? Head to rockauto.com, check out their website, and look for everything you need right there at your fingertips. So you don't have to necessarily go to your dealership or, rely on a certain auto body shop to find the parts for you, because sometimes that's more expensive and that's what you're really paying for, not the actual labor. Go explore their easy to use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Okay, Michael. So this is the part where we have to break down what Wildcat fans can expect from Wildcat football, from what we've seen so far, what we know so far. There's been changes to the offense. They've upgraded their quarterback situation. They've replaced the receivers that they lost. They have veteran presence. They literally have all the makings of a good team. And this is actually going to be probably the first year where we'll see like some fruits of Jedd Fisch's labor, right? Like him
for sure.
recruiting, his recruiting and all that. And I know a lot of people may have the mindset, right, of, well, we still got to give him time, right, to improve. Mm-hmm. But you also have people like Jayden de Laura, who comes from a team where they were in constant, improvement mode. Washington State probably had the best seasons last season in years. They had been playing a lot better since the takeover of Mike Leach, but that team is known to like have to continue to work at things and improve on a yearly basis. Now, we definitely hope to see more than one win from the Wildcats, but do you feel like they'll actually be contenders in the Pac-12 next season?
Oh, definitely not. But see, I know.
Guys,
I'm sorry.
I tried. I really hope.
No, you really did. You did a very good job of it. I definitely applaud the effort. Tip of the cap right there. But I think Arizona fans, if you can just get 4 or 5 wins, just up it, go from 1 to 4 or 5. And then you know what? Year 3 is when you strike. Year 4 is when you strike. If they're competing for for a conference, South, then this guy is going to be like the next coach at like Michigan or something. He won't even be here after this year. But, it's hope reigns eternal. And there's people here in Tucson that are looking at it and they're like, well, why can't we compete with ASU or Colorado or all these other different teams? Because, those teams aren't very good either. So, you're not the first one that's broached that question. I just don't see it though.
I feel like that was probably my main thought. Like ASU is going through some major struggles. They don't have a set quarterback right now, at least not one that we would be wowed about, right? They lost Jaden Daniels to LSU. They have organizational issues, still dealing with the whole coaching, recruiting issues. I feel like those NCAA sanctions still haven't happened. So there's a lot looming over their heads. And then, Colorado's not the best. Utah, they're going to come with it, right? They're the defending champs. They got some, heavy artillery over there, I would believe. Oregon, USC, all rebuilding. UCLA, still a tough team. I know that it's a very tough field still, but no optimism for Arizona to be the breakout team you didn't see coming.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. Arizona, I don't know that any other team, if they could increase their wins by 400% if Arizona gets 4. How about that? So, you go from 1 to 4, I'll take it.
I'm definitely giving them more than 4 wins. I'm expecting more than 4 wins. That might be too optimistic, but Wildcat fans, I hope you're with me here in holding your team to a higher standard than Michael Luke.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Just put it to you like that right there. One of us was a Division I athlete. I'm going to let you guess which one of it was.
That doesn't mean that I know exactly everything I'm talking about.
You've been in the trenches, though.
I try to be optimistic here because I do believe you can change things around the teams, though, right? Because it relies on so many different moving parts. But we're going to say fingers crossed for a better season. Obviously, when all the teams play better, the conference is better, right? We need more attention towards the conference. And All right, Michael Luke, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you dropping all your insight about the Wildcats. You guys make sure you check out Michael Luke on Locked On Wildcats Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcast. It's free and available on all platforms. You can check out Wildcats on YouTube and like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Back to giving you daily content. So yeah, I know you guys probably missed my face.
Well, there you go.
Other than that, make sure you guys check us out on Twitter at LO_Pac-12, at LO Wildcats, and then at Iron Mike Luke for his personal Twitter, and mine is at @_Cindy Robinson. Continue to stay locked on Pac-12 on the Locked On Network.